Can you quote the most iconic scene?
Just the not the bees!
Not the bees! Not the bees! Ah! Now today, Mikaela, we're gonna be ranking in honor of the newly released movie, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, our top 5 favorite Nicolas Cage performances.
Yes. So what's your number 5?
My number 5 is Spider-Man Noir and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. When they're introducing all of the other Spider-Men, they introduce his character, and it's like he's basically this kind of like old-timey detective in the 1930s.
It's 1933, and I'm a private eye.
But then this is the line where I was like, okay, that's one of the best lines, performance ever. He goes,
Sometimes I let matches burn down to my fingertips just to feel something, anything.
and it's like, okay, you knew that you were gonna have to get Nick Cage when you wrote that line because no one else can say, feel something, anything.
He's not so much of a voice actor as a lot of actors who have like those distinct voices and
Yeah.
stuff, but he is someone that the second he is voicing over anything, you're like, oh, that's Nick Cage.
What is your number 5?
Have you ever seen The Wicker Man?
I have not, but I've seen the scene that I think you're gonna be talking about.
The best way I saw it described was, it's so bad it's good. I really do love movies like that where it's like, it's really not good, but you can't take your eyes off of it. He punches women like 3 times
Yes.
in this movie. Very many times yells at people in his very Nick Cage way.
How'd it get burned? How'd it get burned? How'd it get burned?
Can you quote the most iconic scene?
Just the not the bees!
Not the bees! Not the bees! Ah! And he says the greatest line ever, which is,
Killing me won't bring back your goddamn honey!
What's your number 4?
okay, so my number 4 is Benjamin Franklin Gates from National Treasure.
My number 4 is also National Treasure.
This is one of the best movies ever.
This is one of the best, I think, franchises for him. I associate him with this franchise when I think of Nick Cage.
This is him basically being Indiana Jones. There's a lot in this movie that I absolutely love. They really tied together the Gates family backstory of they were sort of accused of betraying Abraham Lincoln and they're accused of being involved in the Lincoln assassination. They somehow make stuff that was going on in the Revolutionary and Civil War personal. And this movie, you know it's gonna be just bad movie from the start. They're in Antarctica. They find this sunken ship. Nicolas Cage comes down. He reads basically like a really tough crossword clue, the iron pen.
It was firm, it was adamant, it was resolved.
And he somehow ties it to the Declaration of Independence of the Freemasons, and they need to steal the Declaration of Independence.
I'm gonna steal the Declaration of Independence.
My number 3 is Big Daddy in Kick-Ass, which is a surprisingly awesome movie. He plays the funniest character ever. He plays Big Daddy, basically a Batman ripoff. Why this is one of his best performances is he's at the same time this kind of like psychopath, deadly assassin, and 2, this like really wonderful father. The scene that really makes it is when he and Kick-Ass are tied up and they're about to be assassinated on live TV, and Hit Girl comes to save them. And right as she's about to free them, the bad guys basically light Nicolas Cage on fire. His daughter sees this and shouts, "No!" His voice goes into an octave we didn't know he could register.
I know.
He then screams in a high-pitched voice, "Take cover, child!" Like he stretches child, "Take cover, child!" And then he's basically giving her directions what to do, and he goes, and he dies. I just remember like, I wish this character didn't die because this is the movie. This is the best part of he's Big Daddy. Like he's just so good. That's my number 3. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is Gone in 60 Seconds. Just this one scene is actually a scene that I've seen a million times because I think it is one of the all-time Nick Cage scenes. So they're all ready to go like steal, I think the plot's like 50 cars or something like that.
Yeah.
And Nick Cage just looks to one of the guys and he goes,
Donnie, Lowrider.
Wait, Lowrider is the one.
yeah, it's the George Lopez song.
Low
Rider.
Ride a little slower.
It's just a great scene because he's like, and everyone in the room is kind of like, okay. And he like does this like little Nick Cage thing with his jazz fingers. And I just think that's one of the best Nick Cage scenes of all time.
It's to the point where you start to wonder like, are you just like this in real life? Anyway, Nicolas Cage is awesome.
What's your number 2?
So my number 2 is Lieutenant Terrence McDonough from the movie Bad Lieutenant, Port of Call, New Orleans. This is the movie that when people watch, everybody's seen the like 20 minutes of Nick Cage freaking out. Half of those clips are from this movie. He plays a detective in the police who's, the title says it all, he's a bad lieutenant. He's basically trying to solve this case. He's also addicted to crack.
Is this the movie where the guy dies and he sees the guy breakdancing?
Yes. Yes. He's with the drug dealer, played by Exhibit. They kill the other people at the drug deal, and when they're like, okay, we're good, he goes, no, no, no.
Shoot him again.
What fool?
His soul's still dancing.
They then pan over, and there's just a guy breakdancing. My favorite line though in the whole thing is he's doing some crack with Exhibit, and then he says like, you ever heard of this, the guy?
He landed again, he ran. He scored a touchdown.
He scores a touchdown! Like, what the f? What's your number 2?
My number 2 is actually Kick-Ass. For the exact same reason of that ending scene where he's sitting in the chair,
Yes.
fire. The way he's acting while it is on fire is just such an incredible choice by him, because any other movie or scene where like someone's on fire, you're screaming bloody murder. He's still kind of acting, or he's like, get out of like,
Take cover!
It's one of those scenes where it's like, my instinct is to cry right now because like the whole movie, it's like he's this good dad. He's teaching her like, you know, you gotta save people and all these things.
That's my girl.
So it's supposed to be this like sad scene, but then when he opens his mouth, you kind of have to giggle a little bit.
That movie is unbelievable.
Super good. What's your number 1?
My number 1, I don't even have to look, is Cameron Poe from the movie Con Air. This movie is my favorite of all the plots. This movie is they're transporting prisoners on a plane. He's Cameron Poe, a military vet. For some reason, the director looked at Nicolas Cage and his receding hairline that's probably even worse than mine and was like, what if we just like let it all grow out? Do you think you could look like a Disney prince? Like if we got to like the Prince Charming length? It's just hilarious to think that for this movie, they definitely were like, well, Nick Cage is a sex symbol. The women will come see this. Like he's like George Clooney or something. He plays a Southern man this time. He has the many great lines like the, give me back that bunny.
Put the bunny back in the box.
Because he gets his daughter a stuffed bunny and he really almost like risks his life many times instead of just thinking, I could get another bunny. Really great movie. This is one of those movies where it's like, yeah, it's flawed. You kind of can't stop watching it.
Yeah, it's safe to say most of his movies are like this. So my number 1 is actually Face Off. There's a million scenes where Nick Cage is being Nick Cage while also being John Travolta. You know, there's layers to this character that he plays. But just the opening scene alone of when he comes out and does this whole like priest thing. Hallelujah. He makes so many great faces. The like head like thing he does when he comes out.
Yeah.
Like it comes and like drops a little chorus book in front of the girl.
Your voice makes even a hack like him.
That whole thing is just such a weird limber Nick Cage thing that it's just like the face he makes when he grabs her ass.
Yes.
And that's why I'm like, I just had to put it at number 1, is because I just feel like I've seen that face so many times.
I think you nailed it. I should have made this my number 1 too.
It's such a strong opening scene. I love it.
All right, guys, well, there you have it. Those were our top 5 Nicolas Cage performances. Do we miss any of yours? I'm sure we did, because there are, like we said, hundreds that we even know of right now. There's probably more out there. Let us know your favorites in the comments below, and as always, let us know which one of us you think had the best list. And guys, head over to ranker.com. They have nothing but Nicolas Cage lists over there.
Bye, guys.
Bye.